Welcome, and stand as you're able and join us for our opening song. Good morning. It is my privilege and my pleasure to welcome you to Louisville. Until the last day of August, about the 31st of August, she'll be home, and we're blessing her to her enrichment and rest. And in the meantime, we are very excited to have Miss Karen Rader and her lovely husband with us this morning. And so we're just going to start with the welcoming of spirit, and Miss Pat is going to light our candle for us while I give us a little invocation. We light the candle in the acknowledgement and the action that Spirit is the light of the world, and Spirit is what we are. Take a moment now to breathe into that space within you. Each of us individually, and yet collectively, we find our way to that full presence to be right here and right now. In this moment, in this place, there is only love. And from this space, I offer blessing of this time of Karen being with us today, holding herself as a vessel of spirit, that each person here should receive what they came for, and that it is a giving and receiving for all of us. And for that I'm grateful. And I just release it, and I let it be, and so it is. So it is. Now I'll turn it over to Gordon Newsman.
Okay, brought to you by New Thought Newton. Okay, there you go. Announcements and upcoming events. What do we have first up?
Oh, well, that's a very interesting pause. So, my apologies.
You need to be where you are.
Yeah, we're going to trade places in just a moment. Because I told Karen that I would introduce her at this point, which I did not do. So let me just say that Karen is a long-standing practitioner of science of mind, and she has been in service since 2006. She's also an interfaith minister, and she's also a hospice chaplain. And she just wanted to let you know those things because she hasn't spoken for us in some time. And sometimes people like to know those kinds of things just in case you need some additional support. And thank you. Now I'll turn it back over to Gordon.
Okay. Now I got to make it up myself? Oh, you want me to stand over here? Okay, that's right. Give me a Christmas time. Okay. I'm going to give you a follow, right? Whenever I try to eat what? Oh, eat healthy. Oh, healthy. A chocolate bar looks at me and stickers. Yeah, that's as good as it gets. Okay. What are we up to next, Next week, August 25th, guest speaker, Vicki Jeter. Yay, Vicki, honoring all people. Okay, that's going to be the topic. So bring all your goodies. Let's see, wait, we don't do that. No, okay, you don't bring the goodies anyway. It's always good to have them.
That's the first Sunday.
Yeah. Social Sunday is September 1st. Now that's what you really have to remember. And it's coming up, 2 and 2. Okay. And practitioner of the day, Tammy Stephenfield. Tammy, there's Tammy.
Hey, Tammy.
And I'll be back in this shower room, right?
Right.
We're watching you guys back there fooling around back there. You can't really take a shower. Meet Tammy up front in the power shower. Oh, I like that. The power shower for group prayer. The power shower group prayer. Good. Confidential prayer by request. That's okay. See any practitioner for the confidential prayer. All right. August affirmation. As I turn my face to the sun, my shadows fall behind me. I am now conscious of my oneness with Spirit and its energy, enthusiasm, and vitality.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, now to tell your story time. Do you guys call these black-eyed Susans, even though they're kind of brown?
Yes.
Okay, brown, okay. What do you want to tell us about that? Steve,
They're from his garden, and they just keep spreading. Every summer, there's more and more.
isn't it awesome? I know.
They're just taking over.
And they were already there at that house when,
Wow.
before he
Okay.
bought it.
Well, you must have a lot of good vibes as a gardener, though, or else they wouldn't be treating you so well. That's
I
terrific.
don't do a thing to them, they just keep coming.
Yeah. Do you put any water on them?
Nope.
Try watering them, something like kill them. I know.
They don't need any more.
Okay, somebody else, story time. One, two. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a short story, very short story. My daughter Emily, and Emily was always that one kid, you know, in the group that you kind of wonder about, but they do just enough of really cool stuff to make you slap yourself and say, stop worrying, you know, she's all right. It's all right. And her mother was real smart in all of this too, and I think that's really cool. But anyway, she got married on Saturday, this last Saturday. She told me a year ago, she had to sit down with me, and she was getting married, and would I grow the plants for her, for the flowers she made. She meant, would I take care of responsibility for the flowers? The way she said it was, would you grow this stuff for me, you know? And then just harvest it, like you just kind of get out and harvest all this stuff, right? So, without going into too much detail, the wedding was absolutely stunning. It was wonderful. And why was it so wonderful? Well, some of the comments that I remember anyway were things like, it's perfect Emily. Because she and her mom designed the whole thing. And Emily is a very spontaneous, kind of headstrong child, very colorful, never took no for an answer. It probably serves her well as a young woman. But anyway, it was just super. And one or two of the things I thought were really super, besides the flowers, of course. The story's going on a little bit. The flowers were really good. But, you know, she's so funny because it's like she doesn't want to be involved in anything until it's like too late. You know, and now you tell me you want herbs in this thing. Now you tell me you want hydrangeas, you know. That's like a day or two before. She says, well, just whatever you do, Dad, but just figure it out, you know, you'll do it good. Well, it's kind of her way of saying, I'm not going to be mad at you if you don't do it, you know, because she's starting to realize you can't pull that on people all the time. But that was, so the flowers were good, but they were good because Emily refused. She said, you cannot spend a lot of money on these flowers. I do not want you jobbing it out to some florist and then showing up, even though it'll be a beautiful little bouquet, and most weddings are done that way. She says, you know me, I want it done my way, which is true. So good or bad, and she takes responsibility both ways. The second thing I thought was just absolutely awesome. Her guy is a Chinese doctor, okay? And he's a rather conservative fellow, and young guy, finishing up an internship now, and very quiet, like they want to be, at least in the stereotypes. Emily is the exact opposite. She's color and effervescent wherever she goes. So the first dance was not my dance, it was for them. Those two did dance number one, okay? And what they had done was to choreograph the thing. So he actually sang some of the song. I don't remember the song. It was all the movements that were just awesome, though. He was kind of like a stiff robot, so he kind of understands that she's not quite like that. And she was like this fairy out of Peter Pan or something, just all over the place. It was perfect Emily. It was exactly, and she didn't miss a lick. I was just very, very proud of her. You know, it's one thing to want to impose your will on other people. This will be done my way. But it's another thing to be able to pull it off. And I said, you go, girl. It was just really great. So I'll remember that wedding all my life, obviously. Yeah. And I have one thing to really close it out with, though. what was the music that was played when the father or daughter did the dance? Because every now and then she'd dip back into a kind of a traditional thing. She said, now you're going to do the dance, you're going to have the second dance, not the first. Eric has the first dance, the husband, okay? And she says, now I brought it down to 2 songs. The first song was called, they're both by Simon and Garfunkel, such favorites, To Emily, Wherever I May Find Her. It's a little obscure, unless you really listen to a lot of them. But the second one then was, That's My Daughter in the Water. I said, which one would you like? She says, well, I was in the water and you were always there for me. It was nice, So that's my daughter in the water. That's exactly it. Thank you very much. And do I give it back to you now? Oh, any more? No. And no more stories, okay. Take a look. What's up? The reading is up. I don't know why I'm so off today. I'm in a good mood.
My reading today is from this month's Science of Mind, which is advertising a Silmar, which I will be leaving for on Wednesday. Waited a lot of years to get there. Thank you, very excited. And it's kind of synchronistic, but Karen Drucker, who did the first song, I'm going to be in 2 of her workshops while I'm there. And one of them is about, I think, something to do with music and affirmation. So that'll be interesting. But anyway, I dedicate my reading today to Miss Vicki, and the title is A Dream is Meant to be Realized. My dreams are waiting on me to come true. Temple Hayes. The divine mind is infinite. It contains all knowledge and wisdom, but before it can reveal its secrets, it must have an outlet. Ernest Holmes. My 3-year-old goddaughter, Miracle, loves a set of keys like most children. Whatever bag she packs, she makes sure the keys are with her. She feels in her heart that somewhere at some time, those keys will unlock something magical, and her heart's desires will be fulfilled on the other side of the door. As adults, we are no different than a child. The key of magic and longing placed in our heart is still there, and we still carry our bunch of keys with us wherever we go. However, as intentional spirits, we await and prepare for our dreams, knowing we have the key to unlock the door of opportunity when it comes knocking on our path. As intentional spirits, we do our part to elevate our energies and prepare ourselves so we are ready to receive. It is essential to stay committed to the energy lying dormant in yourself, longing to be awakened. Everything in your life has prepared you for where you are right now. You are where you are supposed to be, and when your dream is ready and you are ready, it will appear. As an intentional spirit, you will say, "Welcome, my friend. I have been preparing for you, and I am ready." Keep walking, intentional spirit. Remain engaged and honor the amazing creation called you. Live intentionally as a miracle, and your life will continue to birth many dreams. I delight in the splendor of the unknown, realizing my life is preparing me as an intentional spirit. I know when the time is ready, and I am ready, I unlock my door because I already have the key.
That song gets me all the time. So I chose it, of course, to let it get me today. I am so delighted to be here with all of you. I've been here before. Whenever Richard and I are in town, we always make it a point to schedule our visits around coming to this wonderful center. I want to acknowledge Vicki Jeters, who has been a foundation here to really continue to hold the space and to have the vision and to share the vision so everybody can have the vision, not just Vicki, but everybody can have the vision, and it is spreading out there in ways we can't even imagine. For the board, for Gordy, thank you. I just thought you could do the whole talk. So someday maybe you will, because it was great, and I love to hear your stories. They just make my heart smile. And for Reverend Carolyn, have you known anybody who walks her talk, who lives her truth all the time like Carolyn, and she shows up here and gives this place in so many ways. I honor her, bless her, and I'm also jealous. She's at Asilomar, and we're all hanging out here. And yay, Tammy, you get to go. So thank you all. And Vernon, this couldn't happen without Vernon. I send him slides, but he makes it all come together. So thank you for allowing me to be here, and we'll see what happens. As the time progresses here, I'm just very excited to share. So this topic, the courage to be a bridge. We are in the land of bridges. Have you noticed? I mean, wow, how many little towns have like 5 or 6 bridges right here in a row? And one, you can walk across, you can take a wheelchair across, you can drive across, you can fly across. You can do all kinds, and some of the cards do. That's what I've noticed. There are so many ways that bridges have been speaking to me, so I thought, of course, this would be my title today. And it's important to notice how we're a bridge, how we've been carried by bridges, and what is our next yet to be that we want to know that that bridge is there for us. So there's lots of ways that can happen. There was a story about 2 farmers that lived side by side. The father had given them land, parcels, and they were good buddies, able to live side by side happily, getting along, everything was good, and then they had a tiff. I'm not sure if it was the corn got in the wrong space or what happened. And one day, the oldest brother, a carpenter, came to his house, and he said, well, I'm here to help you with whatever you need done, so let me know what projects you want, and you could just pay me a small fee because I need money. And so the farmer says, well, I got to go into town, I got to sell this grain, I got to do all this stuff, so, build a wall here, build a fence between me and my brother because we're not getting along. And I just want the fence right along the stream and just put it there. So the guy goes off, the farmer goes off to town, and he comes back and goes, holy cow, what happened? I told you to build a fence, and this looks like a bridge. And pretty soon, here comes his younger brother across this little bridge that went right over that little stream, and the little brother said, oh my goodness, thank you. You gave in when I have been thinking I have been so small, and I haven't opened my heart to you, and you built a bridge. And we can all build bridges in places where we didn't know we could build a bridge. And so the carpenter went off to do his work somewhere else. But I love that little story. There are lots of stories about bridges, and I won't share them all. We can be a human bridge, and maybe you have watched on TV or read in the news about a mother who was in the restroom at the beach, and she hears somebody going, oh my gosh, the riptide and those kids are out there. Her 8 and 11-year-old are stuck out in the water, and there's all these waves coming, and it's getting very ferocious out there. And so she starts to go out there. I have to go out, but I'm not that good a swimmer. What am I going to do? So she tells another family, another tells another family, even grandparents. I think her mother was there, so it was 3 generations. Well, some wise soul said, we can do this. And they gathered up and got 50 people with the youngest child on the beach going out and bridged the gap to bring those 2 young children back to the, and it's not so small, just like the song says. Everything doesn't have to be a major deal. We are continuing to create bridges in the teeny tiniest ways. And so I would love to hear from all of you sometime, and afterwards you can tell me your story. I'm sure bridges bring up something for you. When you even heard the title, you were probably thinking of certain things that came through your mind, and I started thinking of bridges, how we help other people. But I also started thinking of our bridges between one phase of life and the next phase of life. So we're continuing to go from one stage to the next. And if you ever had someone in your life who was a bridge for you when you were a child, when there wasn't anybody else there that you thought understood you, but somebody showed up as a bridge. And so that is very important. And I think of the lady who lived next door. She would iron all the time, sitting down, and she was perfectly happy to have me come and visit her. So I would sit and tell her my stories, and she would iron, and she would listen, and she didn't have to do anything else probably but nod her head, because I was probably going like this. We have these bridges in our life that help us when things are a little tough, and we're ready to go to whatever's next. So when you do hospice work, and Richard and I have, and so has Joan, and many of you have helped people on their journey waiting for their next yet to be, you become more aware of bridges as well, because we can all be bridges for someone who's moving to their next yet to be. And that's a beautiful opportunity. All these people just teach you, you think you're giving them something, and they give you 1,000 times more awareness, understanding, humility. Oh my gosh. And someday I used to look at people and think, this could be me. This is me. So when I would see a terrible situation that I thought, I don't know what I'm going to do. You never know what you're going to get. And I would think, this could be me. What do I want someone to do? So sometimes I would sing to my patients. Richard prayed for them because he said, you know, really, Karen, they can't complain too much, you know. But singing to them was, and he doesn't mind if I tease him about some of these little things, but singing to people would help them get into their heart space. And that first song that we sang about There Is Only Love, I would sing that because they would feel like there is nothing. But at the right time to sing and share a song that takes you to what's really important, why not? So, but sometimes it doesn't seem so easy, and you know, there's a lot of suffering in the world, and you read the newspaper and watch the news and you think, we need a lot more bridges. But the theme for this month of August for Centers for Spiritual Living Worldwide is respecting other nations and people. And I took a quote from Ernest Holmes, who's the founder of this tradition, and what he says is, God exists in everything. God exists in me, and because God exists in me, I am able to recognize other beings in whom God exists. And we're talking the two-legged, the four-legged, the winged. We have the creepy crawly. I mean, we have something to give and to take care of our world, and it's more than just us, and it's more than just our family. We can know it so broadly that the people we love and care for, the people we don't even like, we can still know that in their heart there is this love, there is this God that exists. They just might not know it at the moment. But if we see through the eyes of one who knows God exists in everything, it all takes a different perspective. And I'm working on it all the time, so please do not think that I am up here to share this because I have arisen. I'm watching my mind more and more. And as I watch my mind, I see where my prejudices might be, my biases might be, my negativity might be, and I wouldn't have known it had I not started paying more attention to what really creeps up. Like we went down to breakfast at the hotel we stayed in today, and there was a man that had a plate full of sugar. And the first thing that went through my mind is, wow, I hope he's okay with nutrition, I mean, his cells are, he had everything sweet on there and it was piled up high. And then I thought, Karen, there you go. You think you know what this guy needs to eat. And it's like, okay, it's humbling. And I can just know that there is more to this, and all I need to do is bless him. I don't need to figure out his menu. And that's such a little teeny tiny way that my brain works. And I know all of you have minds that go a little on the crazy side too, so it's okay. Mark Nepo says,
Great example.
thank you. Mark Nepo, I don't know if you've read his book, which I love, is More Together Than Alone, A Legacy of Community. And he talks about, you're different, go away. Or we can say, you're different, come teach me. And we can say that to anybody, even when we don't agree with where they're coming from, and we think, where did you come up with that? But when we open our hearts to see everything everywhere, it changes, totally changes. And I'm going to go over a little process of blessing that's kind of opened my mind a bit more, and we'll share about that as we go. Anyway, let's see what our next slide is. So our task, so you might be wondering what our task is, and I read this by Albert Einstein. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison of delusions by widening our circles of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. He wrote it in 1950. It was in the New York Times, and he could have written it yesterday, and it wouldn't be any more appropriate. So let us say, okay, the task is there. We can't do everything big. We can't even run for president. We could if we wanted to, but I wouldn't. It's a big job, and I'm not even criticizing or saying anything. Everybody has to do what is theirs to do. And as long as everybody does what's theirs to do, and I believe there's a hope coming, that it's coming every day. It's not like it's coming tomorrow when we get something different. It's coming now when we know that it's possible. Absolutely, right here and right now. So what do you see when you see bridges? What kind of bridge would you like to be if you could be a bridge? Think about it. You could be a bridge of joy and hang out watching thunder over Louisville and playing and partying. That's some joy, and there's more joy than just being, I think that yellow bridge is kind of cute over there because it's so different. It gives you just like the contrast of an old and new. And I'm going for the new view of seeing the old and the new. And I invite you to join me. You could be a bridge of power, a bridge of generosity, a bridge of compassion, strength. What kind of bridge would you like to be? Just think about that, because your heart tells you what it is. And now when you look at bridges, maybe they'll look a little different, and you say, that bridge looks beautiful. I want to be that wholeness of beauty in me and share it with the world. In the wisdom of children, this little girl, Nan, she said, God, I bet it's hard to love everybody. Everybody in the whole world. You love everybody in the whole world. And in my family, there's only 4, and I'm having a really hard time loving them all. It doesn't always come easy. And I love that little statement. I thought, yeah, when I'm driving down the highway, I can feel that. But I've been practicing this blessing, and it starts to change and shift things, and there is something to it. It's a bridging by blessing is what I'm claiming it. It's kind of like the golden rule, leaving it everywhere. It's in the Bible, it's in the Quran, it's in the Buddha Sutras, it's in the Hindu teachings, it's in every sacred text, and it's on the street if we accept the assignment. And why not? So that's what I'm sharing, a part of that today. So So let's see what's next here. Well, what if we accept the invitation to Brea Bridge? We could do it, and we can do it our own way. Seeds of blessings and bridging all over the place, and I know it's happening right now. And to quote the Bible in Romans, it's plain and simply written, bless those who persecute you, bless and do not curse, rejoice with those who rejoice, mourn with those who mourn, and live in harmony with one another. I know we have a little work to do, and we can do it every single day, and I love that quote, so I wanted to bring that to today's talk. But, you know, our teachers come in all kinds of ways and places, just like I've shared about that. And I've been blessed to read a recent book called The Gentle Art of Blessing. This is by Pierre Pradervan. And this book was written in French, and people kept saying, you've got to write that in some other languages because people need it around the world. Well, he has a retreat center in the Swiss Alps, and he does work with people that come to see him from all over the world. And so The Gentle Art of Blessing is the book that he wrote, and he tells amazing stories of how we can bless instead of going to our default, which is to judge. So when I saw the man with the plate of sugar, I thought, yeah, right, I was judging again. And, but what if I blessed him? And I blessed all the cells of his body. I mean, I didn't tell him this. Bless all the cells of his body that he gets healthy nutrition and lives a healthy, long life. What if I bless him and say, and then may your grandchildren be happy. May you live in financial freedom. You can do that with anybody, anywhere. And the subtleness of that, and I thought I did some of these things. I did it, but I've been on the commitment for it after reading the book to do it more continuously. Like yesterday, I ran into someone I knew on the street, and they started telling me a story, and I was off to do something else. And I thought, oh, pause and bless and listen. And then I could be totally present for this person. But when I thought I needed to be doing something else, if you ever noticed, you totally left the room, the street, you even leave the country sometimes with your mind going. So that was a real important opportunity for me. And he tells a lot of stories in his book, but I won't go through those. Even a man who in the Holocaust, all his family was killed, and he saw them killed, and this man chose to find his way to blessing. It took him a while, but he chose to find his way. And so we can do that also. And what he says is, the practice of blessing is a simple way to develop a constantly centered awareness. It is also a tool for growing universal love and avoiding judgment. From The Gentle Art of Blessing. And one little other quote from his book, he says, to bless means to wish unconditionally from the deepest chamber of your heart, unrestricted, good for others and events. So you don't even have to wish it for people, you can wish it for something happening. I think somebody was wishing good things for these bridges to develop. It took a lot of work. And you think it took a lot of coming together back in 1924 when they were building this first little 2nd Street bridge. There was a lot of controversy about that bridge too. And it took a long time for them to get it built. And I think they even had a toll on that bridge at one time of like 35 cents. And
Back then would have been a lot.
that would have been a lot. So to bless means to wish unconditionally and from the deepest place of our heart. And there's no one way to do it. So you can decide how you want to do it, any way that you like. I just wanted to give you the invitation to know that something is calling you to be more of who you are today and in every day. And as Rumi said, one of my favorite teachers, Love is the bridge between you and everything. And what I truly know, it is our bridge between us and everything, just like our songs have said today. And I have a little handout that happens to be out there on the table when you leave that you can get, because I thought, Karen, you're telling them a lot of information, and maybe you'd like to carry something with you, like the name of Rader van. I loved it because he had Rader in the middle of his last name. So I thought, well, he must be related. Anyway, the practice of blessing, as we talked about, is a simple way to develop constantly centered awareness. And one of the first ones on this little handout is, on awakening, so you can start tomorrow, or if you take a nap, you can start today. On awakening, bless the day, for it is already full of unseen good, which our blessings will call forth for to bless, to acknowledge the unlimited good that is embedded in the texture of the universe and awaiting each and all. Everything is holy now, and I'm claiming it so, and I'm inviting you to know it with me. So, kind of breathe that in a little bit, and we'll go right into meditation. There is a power for universe, a power for all of us, a power in the universe, and that expresses that light because we know it is God, the good, omnipotent, omnipresent, omniactive, omniwise, omniscient. That is the full essence of who we are and who everyone else is. And whether they know it or not, that part is none of our business. Our business is to know it is here right now and in everything, everywhere. We feel it. And we pause to bring it deeper into our hearts. Let's, with silent breaths, bring in that awareness, bring in that acceptance of the bridges that we are, and to commit to nurture. How can we nurture, care for, renew the bridge within ourselves that is asking us to be more of who we already are? So we'll have just a few moments of silence. I accept and I am willing to know the truth, and that love is the way. Love is the bridge between me, us, and everything, and so it is. And thank you, Melba. I didn't say anything about Melba either. We are grateful to have Melba today. Lo is off on doing something important for him.
Birthday.
Oh, it's his birthday. So welcome, Melba.
And let this seed of the song be fertilized.
And fertilize the seed of love within us and the remembering that we are holy, just the way we are, and we are becoming more of who we are as we honor and accept the assignment. We stand tall with deep roots and accept the assignment for life to be ourselves, authentically, lovingly, and a blessing to all. And to bless ourselves as well is a beautiful thing. Thank you, Infinite Spirit, as we know your truth resides right here in this day and in every next new now moment. We are grateful. Pausing to be grateful and to feel that thanksgiving in everything. And to bless each and every soul that we meet. And so it is.
So it is.
It is that time of our service, and we gratefully accept all donations. We accept your credit and debit cards, and that's available at the back table. And if you'll join me in our August affirmation for prosperity. From far and near, my good comes to me, the unfailing supply of spirit, and I am always ready and grateful to receive it. Yes. Thank you, Tammy.
So I know we can all feel that the blessing has been paid forward, and it is my privilege in this moment to be a vessel of receiving on behalf of the center. Thank you so much for the tithes and offerings. Thank you so much for the invitation we've been given to give and receive in such a continuous way as this blessing. And I know that this is imbued in these offerings, and that it goes forth to bless and build bridges everywhere that we know is being called. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. I let it be, and so it is.
So it is.
Thank you, dear. And by the same token, for those of you who may not be aware, this is a prayer box, and your treatment requests are always welcome. If you'd like to leave a prayer request that you were not aware you had the opportunity, the prayer forms are on the back table, and this prayer goes forth as a planted seed, as an initiation for all of our practitioner team that carries these prayers forward until we know that they are manifest. As I recognize the one in this moment, and I allow for simply breathing to bring us to that place of the point of first cause, which is pure spirit, no separation, and total blessing, as has already been put into the law. And I know right here and right now, the realization that the words within these prayer requests, it has been done even before it has been asked, and that this is but the practice, the dedication, the commitment of knowing that it is received by the law and manifest as self-evident in the experiences of each and every being that is touched by it. For this knowing, I'm so grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Presence of Life, for this and so much more. And I release it, I let it be, and so it is. Now, I have lost my way. Oh, we are to the song of going forth. So absolutely, rise as you're able. This is a fabulous going forth song. This melody is going to lead us.